Whoa. Drew got first blood. What?
You didn't hit any buttons, did you? Not that one. Far left. That's the one.
You've got the... Uh-oh.
Oh, yeah, I figured out why this monitor wouldn't turn on.
Oh.
Because when your short ass went to try and reach over the back to turn it on, you pulled it forward so you could reach. You unplugged it.
That would explain why it wouldn't turn on. Wait a minute.
So now it's all systems go again. Good morning, everybody.
Good morning. Did you pull up the same video twice?
I don't think so.
Because if you...
I pulled up, so I've got that video there, and oh my God.
Yeah, unflattering...
Well, she's an unflattering
See, it's
woman.
the same
So,
one.
No, there's one there, and then there's a couple of different ones in here. Okay, so this article's got the same one twice.
That's what I tried to tell you.
Got it. Okay, so
I thought I shared the Moaning Myrtles one. It's on my Twitter. I'm certain of that.
Okay, so... And there's one...
Sometimes Me More Monday writes itself, people, and that's what happened here.
It does. It does. So, okay, last week we talked a bit about the new Ministry of Truth. And that's it, guys. That's the word. Call it the Ministry of Truth. Never call it anything else. Don't let them pretend like it's got a different name. Just like the Don't Say Gay bill thing, right? That is not the name of the bill. In fact, the bill never even mentions the word gay. It's the Parents' Education Rights Protection Act.
Yeah, a bill that says you have to wait till after 3rd grade before you teach the kiddies about sex. And the bill also says that if your child has any sexual or gender questions in that time frame, you're obligated to inform the parents. Not that you don't have to answer the questions. Not that you're not allowed to talk to the child about it. No. Just that you have to tell the parent that it happened. That's all. That's not the... That's it. See? I knew I shared it.
Okay, so
before we get
we're going to talk a little bit about the Ministrix of Truth today.
Scary Poppins?
Scary Poppins, that's the one.
Yes.
And there's been a little bit of hoopla over the weekend about some videos that have emerged. Now, in one of them, she's singing, and I don't have the one where she's singing the song about screwing her way to the top. I'm actually going to defend her on that one, because in that one it's clear that she's doing a performance where there is a political position that she's taking. She's making some specific claims, and she's performing a sort of parody. And that one, okay, I don't have to agree with your position. Sergeant Major says it looks like we're not streaming. We appear to be streaming. Yes, we are. And looks like we're firing on all cylinders, so I'm not sure what you're talking about, old man. Is Rumble not working correctly? Nope, Rumble appears to be correct. So, I'm not sure which one you're talking about there, Granddad.
Okay.
Well, yeah, everybody give me a quick report on how your how the stream's feeding you and how audio and all that. Steve says the video's a little grainy on YouTube.
Well,
that's fine as long as we're hot on all mics.
Yeah, as long as it's still working. Okay.
And Dan says we are goo on Facebook.
Yeah. So, look, before we get into all the things and the cringe and all of it, I wanted to have just a little bit of fun. Can we do the fun?
Okay, well, we can do the fun.
It's Meme War Monday, so memes.
So,
not that one, Goofy.
Went looking for some prefects in the bathroom one day, but instead I found Harry, and so I...
Do. Oh my. This is painful. This is just painful. We should have just kept rolling with it. I didn't think it would take this long.
We should have. But it's too late now.
It's never too late to do the right thing, sir.
Okay.
Yeah.
You're going to start with this one?
Sure. Just because
okay,
I thought...
Me More Monday.
Yeah, just because I thought that it would give you... Spoiler alert, we talk about things that we're going to discuss on the show ahead of time. And as we were discussing Scary Poppins, and like we've known since last Friday that that we were going to be talking about all the stuff with the Ministry of Truth, because sometimes Me More Monday writes itself, but also sometimes Me More Monday should be fun. And then other times we want to talk about how the left can't meme. And in this particular meme, to be extremely specific, this was so Chris could reiterate his point. As we were discussing this, he kept referring to it as the Ministry of Truth. And I kind of humorously was like, good Lord, does anybody even know the name of the organization? Or did we all just decide to call it the Ministry of Truth? Be damned what it's actually called. And Chris said, yeah, of course. If they can call it the Don't Say Gay Bill, then I could call it the Ministry of Truth.
Damn
period.
Right.
And so
now, I believe the official name is the Ministry of
I don't think it's called the Ministry of anything.
The board for combating misinformation, something like that. And you know what? It doesn't matter if you can correctly remember the name of that particular organization, because when you say Ministry of Truth, everybody will know exactly what you're talking about. And there are some things that we can understand. So I'm going to give you a little inside baseball, because what we're talking about is active war. That's why we do Meme War Monday. There is an information war on, right? Alex Jones didn't just sing it, just whistling Dixie when he talks about the info war. There are two things in. There's misinformation and there's disinformation, and there's an important difference between the two. Misinformation is when somebody gets their facts wrong, right? Misinformation is when somebody reads some headlines without reading an article and comes to a conclusion, and they're missing vital pieces of information. They don't actually understand what they've read and haven't given it real thought. That's misinformation, right? If a person can be wrong without lying. And that's where you get into the idea and, well, the fact that intent is a major component of a crime. Disinformation is when I disseminate troop movements which are counterfactual because I suspect that the enemy has access to my information, and so I give them information that is intentionally incorrect in order to facilitate their reacting in a predictable way to information I expect them to receive. Right? If I want to put my troops at location A to prepare an ambush for my enemy, then I will disseminate information that I'll be moving troops through location B at a given time. So, in theory, what this board purports to do is to try and find where propaganda systems and black propaganda systems are being used to explicitly craft false information, to disinform and give the other side information that is incorrectly actionable.
You mean like Don't Say Gay?
Correct. The Don't Say Gay bill is an excellent example of disinformation. As every single person who has used the phrase "don't say gay" in reference to that bill is either an unwitting participant, or much more likely, given the people that we've seen saying it, they're lying. They're going out of their way to give you false information. And the effectiveness, the beauty of disinformation as a combative tactic is when you get other people to repeat your lie, they are now misinformed. They are misinforming other people because they have been disinformed intentionally. So disinformation creates misinformation by putting false information into the heads of people who do not understand that they're lying. So they're not actually lying. They're speaking incorrectly through no fault of their own. Unless you want to go ahead and
Dan
argue
Burks,
sins of
how dare
omission.
you? That vaccine is 100% safe. It should come in gold-plated needles. It's the most awesome vaccine that has ever hit the market. Ever. How dare you, Dan? How dare you?
It's 100% effective at preventing the acquisition of the evil China virus, right?
Right.
Wait, no, they never said that, did they? Yes, they did. Yes, they did.
I'm still uncomfortable talking about it because that's the thing we've been whacked for the most. Because we have been whacked for a few times.
Yep.
Look, let's
So when you're talking about the difference between the two, it is at the top echelon that the false information is generated, where it's done with volition to intentionally craft false narratives. We're talking about the Ministrix, Nina Jankowicz. This is a person, she wrote a book about disinformation that goes on to claim that opposition arguments against the Russia scandal are disinformation. That statement itself is disinformation. We know from the Mueller investigation, which was crafted illegally to craft the false narrative that Donald Trump engaged in collusion with Russia, failed so miserably that in an attempt to craft that narrative, Mueller actually proved beyond the reasonable doubt that there was no collusion, to such an extent that they then had to argue that Donald Trump's refusal to generate non-existent evidence was an attempt to obstruct justice by obfuscating information. But the fact is, when they made the argument that he attempted to obstruct justice by not providing the information, the claim that they were making is that Donald Trump is bad because he won't tell the lies we need him to tell to make it look like he committed a crime that we have clearly proved he never committed. I mean, the rampant psychopathy of these people is alarming, to say the least. And this Ministrix Jankowicz.
Which song are we going to start with? Because there's actually more than two, but there's just two that...
There's two that are especially disheartening. So let's start with the Disinfo song. Yep, I forgot what I was saying, so we'll just go on to this.
Pondering is really quite ferocious. It's when a huckster takes some lies and makes them sound precocious by saying them in Congress or a mainstream outlet. So disinformation's origins are slightly less atrocious. It's how you hide a little lie. It's how you hide a little lie. It's how you hide a little lie when Rudy Giuliani shared bad intel from Ukraine.
Oh, did he now? Oh, did he now? Wait.
Or when TikTok influencers say COVID can cause pain.
Oh, really? See? Oh.
Okay. Honestly, I think we owe China a thank you. Because who'd have thought that their spyware would be the thing that would allow morons to expose themselves the way... Like, because that's what TikTok is, right? Like, there's a reason why Cameron doesn't do the TikTok, okay?
Right.
Because I don't feel like... China's already got access to enough of my information. I don't want to put it on easy mode for them, which is essentially what TikTok is.
Or Google.
Anyhow. I don't make it easier, okay? Woo! So anyhow. Who'd have thought that they would just expose themselves? That's one of the things that made libs of TikTok so beautiful. Like, all they did was just find crazy shit that far left would say.
You mean like this?
Yes. In fact, yes.
Yeah, this is exactly the kind of stuff. And just, this is the kind of woman we're talking about. Anyway, long story short, I think we as a country might be too free-spirited, to put it diplomatically.
And that's her
to
diplomatic.
comply with social distancing recommendations unless they're forced upon us. So force away. Lock us down. People are not taking this seriously. Force away. Yes, this is the punish me harder daddy Ministrix of truth that says force away. Lock us down.
Yes, Scary Poppins.
And yeah, we're sticking with Scary Poppins. That's solid.
Yeah. So Drew says, so Chris, would disinformation be like the horrible Benghazi debacle that Hillary was a I'm not real sure what you mean there, Drew.
Yes. What Drew's talking about is the Benghazi situation immediately following the Benghazi situation, where, by the way, just remember, the thing that Hillary Clinton was responsible for in the Benghazi situation by refusing to send reinforcements and troops when they were requested by the troops on the ground is not just the death of several U.S. service members. She is personally responsible through not just refusing to respond to cries for help on the night, but to leaving the embassy vulnerable for several years by ignoring repeated requests for enhanced security and an increased military security posture and presence on the ground. And as a result, Hillary Clinton bears the full responsibility of the capture and brutal murder rape of the ambassador. These are Islamic terrorists that killed this man. They didn't just murder him. They dragged him out of the street, anally raped him in front of a cheering crowd repeatedly, and then slowly caused him to die. Not eventually got him to where he was suffering tremendously and put a bullet in his head. No.
No, he suffocated, actually. He still had all that soot in his lungs. It was nasty. No, well, I mean, can we look at the other one that is somehow even more cringe?
Yeah.
This
is the other thing that you need to remember about these people is they're evil, and part of that evil is a deep perversion.
Went looking for some prefects in the bathroom one day, but instead I found Harry, and so I said, hey. I helped him solve the mystery of the A, and I'd like to solve the mystery between his legs. I hope that Harry drowns tomorrow in the lake, so that our honeymoon or we can trade. Know that ghosts have working anatomy, but what's better than that? We don't get STDs. Death is went looking for some
So, she's writing music and performing with a group. The group is called the Moaning Myrtles. Moaning Myrtle is one of the ghosts from the Harry Potter series. She lives in the bathroom and has a crush on Harry. So, Jankowicz is in this singing group called the Moaning Myrtles. This is from a few years ago, but I mean, how many few years ago could it be? Let's not forget, the Ministrix of Truth is like 32, 33 years old. Is essentially a child. And so a lot of the information that we have on her is from her 20s. Because, well, they were yesterday, essentially. And so they've taken this disturbed, perverted, vulgar child and put her in charge of information. They've taken her and put her finger on the edit the script button.
Well,
and this is a woman who has written professionally on the subject of intentionally lying through government sources.
Because it's good for you.
Yeah. This is the kind of woman that you call if you want to keep changing everybody's minds on whether or not eggs and cholesterol are a problem or the best thing ever. Because in my lifetime, we've gone back and forth on that at least a half a dozen times. And I tell you what, fuck you. I will have my eggs for breakfast. That's a thing. And I don't care what any... Oh, no. I will have my bacon and my eggs for breakfast.
Yeah, the eggs thing. Anyhow. So yeah. Meme War Monday. It's a meme in and of itself that there is a ministry of truth. And I've already blanked again on what the name of the thing is. Like the government disinformation, something or other. Somebody even dropped it in the thread to help us out, and I just can't...
It doesn't matter.
No, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. A rose by any other name would still smell as sweet, right?
This rose by any other name is still the enemy.
Oh, governance of disinformation. Yes, thank you, Dave Bowen. Thank you, Dave Bowen.
And Dan points out that's an important point. Dan points out that it is legal, it is totally lawful for the government or its agents to lie to you. Police can lie to you. They can make up laws and just tell you lies in order to try and get you to confess to something that's false. And however, it is a crime to lie to the government. Now, under circumstances, you have the freedom of speech, but under oath, lying to the FBI, those are crimes. That's an important imbalance of power that exists and should be considered as such. In fact, the correct way to go with that, I think, perhaps we need to perhaps we need to petition our government for a redress of grievances and have it made law that the government cannot lie and that its agents cannot lie. You imagine how many convictions would be overturned as a result of making the law such that, well, you can't retroactively criminalize activity, and that is not something we need to change. Jim McCarthy, governance is UN A21 code for global fascism.
I'm not...
I'm going to leave that be. TPS report, the DGB. Got it. Disinformation Governance Board. So...
The Ministry of Truth.
Yeah.
I mean, it is what it is.
Steve says that would be as unenforceable as the drug war. No, it wouldn't. So I'm gonna rebut that, Steve. So if it were in fact law that it were illegal for the government or its agencies to lie, right? The place where that would matter is if somebody has been manipulated by a lying agent to give a confession of some sort, right? Because what will happen is people will confess to enough elements of a crime that they didn't commit. Like, okay, somebody was murdered in Long Beach. Were you in Long Beach? Well, yeah, but I wasn't there. Nope, you were there. You were, yeah, but I wasn't there at the time. No, you said you were there. That's enough to get started on. Whoa, right? People find themselves on the wrong side of the law through no fault of their own because a cop wants to close an investigation, wants to close a case, and one convict is as good as another. That's a thing that happens in a very serious way. If you have a law that criminalizes the use of falsifying data by especially the agents of a government, then what you have is a new legal defense which somebody in that position could use to have various types of evidence thrown out on the basis that it's basically, it'd be similar to the fruit of the poisonous tree. You know, okay, yeah, they found the murder weapon in my filing cabinet in my house, but they can't submit that as evidence because they didn't have a warrant to search the house to begin with. And no, Steve, here's one more rebuttal for you. The problem with enforcing election law is there's so much fraud in any given election, and this is not a commentary on the 2020. This is a commentary on every single election. There are so many cases of individual fraud where we will know the names of individuals who voted illegally, and the court cannot pursue them because there are so many that the court chooses that since we can't pursue all of them, we will pursue none of them. Now, to say can't is not entirely true. The courts could, if they chose, pursue as many as they could manage to pursue. But the fact of the matter is there are so many illegal votes in any given election that it's impossible for the courts to prosecute all of them. And the effective result is that even if we were to prosecute all of them, or even if we were to prosecute all of the ones that we have the capacity to prosecute, the number that would end up being prosecuted out of the total is so insignificant that the end result is the same. There are essentially no consequences for breaking that particular law. The statistical chance that any given individual would be prosecuted is statistically zero. Now, as to the you said the beneficiaries of it will not prosecute it, same in both cases. That's a false reading there, Steve. So the trick here is with such a law that criminalized the lying, the beneficiaries don't have a choice in whether or not to prosecute it, because it would be the victims who had the opportunity to use it as a position of defense and would be bringing that on their own. So the system itself, which has the vested interest in not pursuing the law with regard to government agents lying, if we were to get such a law in the books, it would be out of their hands, because it would be a thing that'd be brought by the defense in a case that was already started. So the case which contains that case law gets brought based on whatever false information that was used to coerce a confession or manipulate evidence. You know, like generating fake videos about Kyle Rittenhouse, for example. And so the defense would be able to bring the law, would be able to bring that defense, and that would have the effect of initiating a separate prosecution that would be essentially out of the hands of the decision-making power of the court, right? It could work kind of like the duty to report in schools, even though none of them take it seriously and actually report groomers within their midst. Under the law, people who are entrusted with the care of your children through a public school system have a duty to report anytime there's evidence of child abuse. They have a duty to report that to law enforcement in the interest of protecting the child. Obviously they don't, or we wouldn't have a groomer problem, but the prohibition on government lying and the lying of government agents. No, Steve, I don't. That's the beauty of it. This puts a bug in the system that gets exploited by people outside of the system. So it would be the people who are engaged in the combative argument with the system that would have a tool that was a part of the system. It's like installing a shutdown button on the cyborgs that you're going to war with. Right? You now have at least something that you have at least a thread you can pull at. So, but that is our time. Do you have anything else you want to close up on? All right. Well then, we will, thanks for watching, and we will see you tomorrow.